So for step 8, the front gearbox, well, we're going to put the two halves of the gearbox together that we finished in step 7, and we're going to use these 4 tapping screws, these 2 longer screws, and we also have this piece right here, which is for the bumper. So there's the hardware that we're going to need for this step. So I'll set this up and we'll put this together. So we need to grab both sides of the gearbox and then be able to slide this together. Now you can see that this shaft that we put in this side is obviously going to have to go into that side. And then of course this one here, the piece that we put over top of that tube, is going to fit right there on the other side of the gearbox. So we are going to need to make sure that this is all going to fit together. So I'm going to look at this one first, make sure that that's going in, and then slide that across, and voila, we have it. Now I am going to check one thing first, which was this piece, to see if the gearbox needs to be open for this to fit or not. It does not. So we can worry about this piece afterwards. So for right now, the way this is, we have the gearbox together. So I'm going to make sure that we've got this right. We need one of the tapping screws to go into this side, just like that. So let's grab our screwdriver. And I'm not going to put it in all the way. I just want to get a sense of how this is all going to fit. Then we have this tapping screw, which is going to go right there on the top. And again, just going to make sure that it is going in and I've got everything correct. Then we have this one here, which is going in at the far end. So that can be screwed together. And again, I'm not doing the whole thing. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So what have we got left? Well, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. They're showing that it's going to go right here. So I'll turn this around so that I can get a better grip on this and see what I'm doing. Okay, so we've got our 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you can see that this longer one is going to fit right there and go through to the other side. So again, let's just screw this in. And it's interesting that this one is not a threaded or a tapping screw, I should say. And then of course we've got this last one. Now because there's this piece, I'm just going to wait a minute. I'm going to start screwing this together a bit. Just gonna go around and around. I'm not tightening any one screw without kind of getting a sense of how everything else is going together. It's looking pretty good though. That one seems to be down and in. 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 So those 4 are definitely in and tight. Just going around again, making sure everything's fine. Now we had this one here, which was this, so I'm just going to make sure that that's, yep. So we can now put this in. Now you'll notice that the way this is in is that the hole needs to be angled. So you want it to look like that, so that the hole is kind of facing up. So on the back side you can see that it actually is flat to the base. just like that. So this screw now, if we hold this in, it's going to go in and through the piece we just put in, and you can see that we've got our lock nut, which is going to go on there, and I think I can just screw that in, which I can, all the way. So that's how it's going to sit. You can see, and that hole is level with the base. So there is our front gearbox. Very, very cool. Now the one thing that you can do, which I suggest, is making sure that now that everything's together, that everything actually works. And I can feel that it's a pretty tight fit, but you can feel it spinning around, and if I hold one side, I can spin it so that you know the differential's working, and of course if I can hold one side, the other side's going to work too, and it's working. Now if this was too tight, the one thing you could do is grab a couple of the drive shafts, stick them in, and then turn those so you can really see that it's working. But I don't need to, because I can feel that everything's working fine and it's nice and smooth. So we're good to go. So there we go. The front gearbox is complete. So now we're going to move on to step 9 and attach the rear upper arms. And we're also now into bag B.